Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are going to be talking about our gut microbiome and how can we actually keep it healthy. So this information comes from a Dr. Jocker's article on the 10 ways to improve the gut microbiome. If you have any questions, please feel free to give Dr. Udani a quick text. She'll be happy to answer all of your questions. I wanted to welcome Dr. Udani this evening with us. She is the naturopathic doctor here at Justine Blainey Wellness Center, but she is very passionate about a lot of different things. And so women's health and skin conditions and chronic pain, stress, and digestion. She really loves to talk about digestion, which is what she's going to be talking about today. So please help me welcome Dr. Udani.
Thank you so much, Angela. Hello, everybody. Good evening. We have an amazing talk coming up on the microbiome and how it affects so many parts of our health. But first, here are some upcoming webinars that we have coming. So we have September 3rd, we got a talk on heartburn, chest pain, or nausea, like what can we do? What are things that can be done to improve these symptoms if you have them? That's going to be presented by our nutritionist, Sabine, who is amazing. We also have talk on experience of cervical neck disc damage and what is and how do we prevent that? Because, a lot of us are on our desks, on our phones, computers all the time. So this is going to be a really important talk by Dr. Justine. And we'll also be having a talk on quality sleep and the best sleep positions, napping and all of that good stuff. And also, can your health make you tired? So some medical issues that can make you be tired all the time. These are all interesting, amazing talks that are coming up. So for today, we are talking about the 10 ways to improve your gut microbiome. So let's jump right in. So how do we know what is the gut microbiome? What does that even mean? So first, we have to understand that the gut microbiome is like a rainforest of different kinds of bacteria, different kinds of fungi, parasites, viruses, all those things, good. For the most part, they're good, the bacteria, if you have a healthy gut microbiome. But sometimes when it's not so healthy, we have more of the parasites, the fungi, the viruses, and the harmful bacteria growing in. But generally speaking, it is like a community of microorganisms that live in our digestive tract. And they actually outnumber us by such a big number, So for example, our microorganisms outnumber our human cells by 10 to 1. So technically, we're actually more bacteria than we are humans. The gut tract, so a lot of the microbiome lives on the gut tract, so the digestive tract, which can span as big as 3 tennis courts if you line it up with the surface. And end to end, our bacteria can circle the earth 2.5 times. So there's so much gut microbiome, microorganisms living in us, on us, that help actually with our health. So for the longest time, we thought like inflammation, things like headaches, joint pain, weren't really connected. But with more research, it's showing that the gut microbiome, this rainforest of different bacteria, is what is helping to either prevent these kind of issues or make them worse. So the health of our gut is so important. So the role of the microbiome affects the health of our gut. Okay, so the microbiome, these friendly bacteria and microorganisms help us by, first of all, in boosting our immune system. It also helps us by synthesizing different vitamins like vitamin B, vitamin K, and helping with absorption of calcium and iron, so important minerals. It also can release helpful anti-inflammatory molecules that calm down any inflammation. It can also even affect your weight. So imbalance in certain microbiomes and bacteria can affect your weight as well and make it difficult to lose weight. It can also even affect your brain health. So there is a new research about link between autism and decreased gut diversity. It can also really improve your metabolism if you have a healthy gut microbiome. So you can see it's connected to so many different parts of our health. The key is diversity and proper balance, because we don't want our gut microbiome to be like one species. We want it to be multiple different species because they're a big community. They work well together. And we also want to make sure that they're healthy and the ones that are good for us. So let's jump in to tip number 1. So the first tip is we want to make sure we are not having a lot of things that kill our gut microbiome, things that destroy our gut microbiome. So a lot of times these things are antibiotics, right? If you think about antibiotics, they kill all things. So good and bad bacteria are affected when you take a lot of antibiotics. Artificial sweeteners, things like aspartame can also make the gut microbiome change. Sugar is really bad as well because too much sugar can feed candida, which is a type of yeast. It can also feed harmful bacteria and make them grow more. Non-organic produce, because of pesticides, can affect the gut lining. GMO, genetically modified foods, and overly sterilized environments. We also don't want to be living in a bubble either. We need bacteria. We need to be introduced to different kinds of bacterial strains for our body to know what is good and what is bad. So antibiotics, like I said, can destroy all good and bad. Artificial sweeteners like Splenda, NutraSweet can cause overgrowth of unwanted bacteria. Same thing with sugar too. And glyphosate is a big, it's called Roundup, right? It's a big pesticide that's used in a lot of crops that can actually cause breakage in the gut lining and holes to be formed, which causes a lot of inflammation in the gut tract. So this is the intestinal tract, right? This is where we want lots of the good bacteria and not as much of the bad bacteria. So what can happen is, when we have something like pesticide, so non-organic foods, or if you eat vegetables that are consistently on the highest, they're the higher up on the Dirty Dozen. So if you go on Google and you check out Dirty Dozen, these are the 12 foods, veggies, and fruits that have the highest amount of pesticides in them. So if you consistently eat these, you're introducing the pesticides into your body, and this can really affect the health of your good gut bacteria, the ones we want, and it can actually increase the bad bacteria, ones we don't want. So very important to be mindful of what we're ingesting. Not just, even if it's healthy, it might not be as healthy as we think. So we want to really, really avoid it. So another one is optimal hydration. So we want to clean up our water too, because, we think it might be healthy for us to drink lots of water, and it 100% is healthy for us to drink. But we want to know where it's coming from, right? Where is this water source coming from? Like, for example, we just had a lot of flooding happening in the GTA, especially Toronto. And so all of that flooding is going to contaminate our lakes and rivers because of all the sewage, the chemicals, and everything that just got collected. So we got to think about this too, because yes, our water treatment plants are great, but it can still increase the number of harmful bacteria in our system, and also things like harmful chemicals like chlorine, aluminum, lead. So having water filtration system, or even something where you boil the water to make sure that the bacteria, like the harmful bacteria, are killed, can go a long way in not introducing microbiome destroyers into your gut. Cutting out the sugars is number 2. So sugar, I know it is very hard sometimes to cut because it is very addictive. I know this for sure too. I have a sweet tooth, but once you understand how bad sugar is for your body, you actually don't want it as much too. And it does take about 21 days to change a habit. So if you're very, very strict with yourself, you'll notice that you don't crave as much sugar after about 21 days, because sugar is like, it's like a drug to the brain. It can lead to weight gain. It can affect your brain health. It can also increase your anxiety levels, your depression levels because of blood sugar fluctuations. Of course, you can get cavities, lots of pain, can harm the heart, liver problems by having too many toxic metabolites that are produced because of the bacteria. And of course, it's going to increase your risk of type 2 diabetes. So these are all things, and of course, increase the cancer risk because a lot of cancer cells feed on sugar. And so this is very, very difficult to get a healthy gut microbiome if you're having a lot of sugar or sugary foods. So sugar doesn't necessarily have to be just like pastries and chocolate. It could also come in forms of like bread. So if you have lots of bread, that is made of sugar, right? That's made of carbohydrates that turn into sugar. So you also want to be very mindful of that as well. So lowering sugar from including sweet things, but also grains and sometimes even fruits can go a long way. Number 3 is increasing your fiber intake. So our good gut bacteria loves fiber. It acts like a food source for our healthy gut bacteria. And it really helps to also make sure that you're more regular. Because when you are regular, so that means you need to have one bowel movement at least once a day. It'll be amazing if you have it 3 times a day. So let's say you eat and you go to the washroom. So for after every meal. But even if you have one bowel movement a day, that is healthy because you want to keep the pipes clean. So fiber is considered a prebiotic. So it's a kind of a food that gut-friendly bacteria loves to eat. So it helps to grow our friendly bacteria. And it also helps to keep the pipes clean because we don't want food to be staying for too long because then that causes them to be staying in the system, start rotting more, can release harmful toxins, and can actually cause our body to absorb some things back again into the bloodstream. So definitely don't want that. So high fiber foods like avocado, berries, coconut, the meat, cruciferous veggies like broccoli and Brussels sprouts are my favorites when you want to increase more fiber. Chia seeds is also a really, really good option as well. Lots of fruit. So not fruit juice, but actual fruit is very high in fiber, but you want to be mindful of the sugar content in it too. Green apples and berries are less likely to feed the harmful bacteria. So if you want to go for the green apples and more berries like blueberries and blackberries, that is also amazing. Number 4 is adding in more fermented foods and probiotics. So fermented foods are foods things like kimchi, sauerkraut, pickled veggies. They really help grow our healthy gut bacteria. It can also help with protecting you against infections. It'll help with nutrient absorption. These are more the probiotics. So probiotics, think of them as good bacteria that you're just ingesting and introducing into your gut. So sometimes, let's say you've had so many antibiotics, or you've just not been eating well, or you've had recurrent infections. Sometimes the gut microbiome needs additional support in the form of probiotics to come in and help out. Think of these as helpful neighbors coming in to help clean up your neighborhood and set up their own homes. So sometimes you don't necessarily need probiotics if you have a healthy routine, healthy lifestyle, but in certain cases you do need to have probiotics in your diet to really boost that good gut microbiome. So what are some prebiotic foods? These are the foods that you can have that will help grow the good bacteria that is already within you. So artichokes, asparagus, love them. They're great to have. You can have 1 to 2 servings per day, ideally. You could do so. You notice there are a lot of these are vegetables. So cucumber, carrots, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, leeks, mushrooms, onions are also amazing. Some people have some trouble with digesting onions, but if you do it well done or well cooked, that can help with that. Sweet potatoes, yams are also great. Fruits are also actually very good. So apples, avocados, berries, mango, love mangoes, but watch out for the sugar. It could be a little bit sweet. Plantains, tomatoes, and you can also get these from chia seeds, coconut flour, dark chocolate, one of my favorites, legumes, so beans, lentils are very, very good at providing a good amount of prebiotic foods into your to help your good gut bacteria grow. So sometimes like I said, you might need a little bit extra support, and so in the form of a probiotic supplement. So what can happen is sometimes the challenge with fermented foods is it can increase certain things called histamine, which is a chemical that's released, molecule that can cause you to have itchy skin or hives and some gut problems as well. So if you do a probiotic that is a little bit more broad spectrum, this really helps with these symptoms. But I highly recommend that before you try any kind of lifestyle changes, you want to come and talk to a naturopath or a nutritionist just to make sure that you're doing things correctly. Intermittent fasting can also be very, very beneficial for your improving your microbiome, because what it can do is, when you're fasting, you're actually giving your digestive system a break, right? It's giving the digestive system a break to heal, to clear out things, to clear out toxins. Instead of, when you're constantly eating, it's actually your liver, your pancreas, your stomach has to do the work, right? And your digest and your intestines have to do the work of breaking down the food. So when you do fasting, you're really helping to clean out and giving your digestive system a little bit of a break. It can also reduce inflammation in the gut, can activate the stem cells in the gut lining. So stem cells help to repair and renew the cells in the gut lining, can improve your microbiome diversity, because when you aren't eating as much food, you're actually making your whole body more efficient at extracting the energy and the nutrients. So sometimes you can even do something called the bone broth fast, which is one of the most powerful therapies for a damaged gut. So this contains collagen. So that can help heal the gut lining. And that is like a very good one. So there is different kinds of fasting. We've done talks on how to do fasting properly. It's different for women compared to men. And I usually say to do a fast where you do like a 12 to 14-hour fast. So most of the fast is done while you're sleeping, so it's not causing too much stress on your body too. Tips number 6 is getting rid of unfriendly microbes. So this is where, we want to boost the microbiome, but what if there's like not so great microbiome, like, friendly, not so friendly ones. So we want to get rid of these as well. So this is where, sometimes a gut reset protocol is needed. So talking to your naturopath is very, very important when we're doing this. Or even talking to myself as your naturopath is where we find a individualized protocol for you, because sometimes when you release and remove these microbes, it can actually make you feel a little bit worse, because they tend to release toxins as they're being killed off, obviously, right? Because they don't want to get killed off, so they're trying to release toxins, damage the cells to stay in the system. But what they do is they really damage the gut. They can crowd out healthy gut bacteria. These are like the bad neighbors that you don't want in your gut lining. And they can also weaken your immune system, because your immune system is so busy trying to keep these bad guys in check that you become now susceptible to viruses, colds, flus, cancer, all the other things, because it's not being able to, its resources are limited. So, we can do fasting, we can do probiotic protocol, antimicrobial herbs can also really help. Such things like rosemary, oregano, thyme, garlic can help keep these unfriendly microbes in check too. I highly recommend getting testing done, which can let us know. So there's comprehensive testing like GI map, which can let us know exactly how bad these gut microbiomes these unfriendly microbes are, to what extent is it in the gut. We do testing first instead of guessing, and then we go down the path of how to get them cleared out of you in a healthy way. Number 7 is we got to make sure the mucosal barrier is strong. So this is the barrier that is lining up all of our intestines, and this is actually where a lot of the gut bacteria lives, because the mucus kind of helps them to live and to feed, and it can also act like a food source for the mucus. That's why a lot of the prebiotic foods actually help increase the mucus in our gut lining. So I drink my water. So it really acts as a protective barrier against harmful pathogens, and also it helps with preventing the toxins from coming into the system, and stomach acid too. It protects us from too much stomach acid. So if you notice like you are prone to heartburn, acid reflux, that is because the stomach acid is damaging the mucus lining in the esophagus. Or you might have an ulcer because their stomach acid is too high. So it's affecting the mucus barrier of the stomach. So we want to make sure we fortify the mucosal barrier. So some things I could do is we want to obviously eat an anti-inflammatory diet. So because the more inflammation we have in the body, the higher chance that the mucosal barrier will be damaged. We also want to limit toxin exposure. So less of the glyphosate. So making sure we eat more organic foods, we filter our water. You know, we want to also exclude some common sensitivities. So gluten, dairy, and eggs tend to be the most common sensitivities. There is testing we can do to rule that out for sure. You can also fortify it by sipping on bone broth, licorice, glutamine, aloe vera. So there's many options to do, but it's very important to speak to a healthcare professional before you try these things, because sometimes they can interfere with medications, with absorption of nutrients, and can actually could cause things to be a little bit worse. So it's very important to get checked first before trying out these ingredients. Number 8 is you want to get in contact, so with friendly bacteria. So we want to be barefoot. Earthing is it's one of my favorite things to actually also to do to de-stress as well. It can actually even improve your mood, boost your creativity, and help you sleep better at night too. So, because when we're earthing, we're actually coming into contact with the bacteria that is living on soil. Even if you do gardening and you're eating the fresh veggies from the garden, there is some bacteria in the soil that comes into contact with us. It could be very helpful to improve our health. So it's going to be very, very beneficial to actually not use, even things like hand sanitizer too often, because that can also get rid of healthy bacteria that's living in our gut and system. So if let's say you get fresh organic produce from local sources, have a garden. We love our garden at home. It is so amazing to see the plants grow too. And obviously you get fresh veggies, but you're also getting down and dirty in the ground to get a contact. Having a pet is also a great way. Sometimes not so great because they can also introduce different pathogens into you. But if you are careful with them and you give them the yearly shots and very, very good with their health, that can also help with your gut microbiome. Number 9 is how to boost the home. So basically, sometimes, our home, like we use a lot of harsh chemicals to clean our home. Like, lots of, if the cleaning products smell really strong, that can really affect the how strong it means. It's very strong. It's very damaging to the microbiome in your home as well. So try not to use too many harsh cleaners. Use baking soda, use a little bit of bleach. And also, of course, you want to circulate your air in the room, so in your home. So having plants, having the doors open during when it's like really, really hot, really cold, having that circulation, getting your ducts clean, so that way you're not breathing in a lot of dust and a lot of pollen, a lot of potentially mold spores is very important too. I love having plants in my home, and they're very easy, like you just have to water them a little bit and put them near sunshine. It really helps to recycle fresh air. And open your windows, allow fresh air to circulate. It's summertime. We don't get summer for too long, so let's try to open the windows and just have more circulation. And like I mentioned, having some animals, like I have a cat and love it. She goes outside, comes in, just there's a lot of that connection with nature too. So you can also do natural cleaning products like Mrs. Meyer's or Seventh Generation. They're a little bit easier in your health and in your body's microbiome too. Tip number 10 is try not to stress over things too much. So chronically stressed can be harmful to your gut microbiome because so when you're stressed, you're in that fight or flight state, which is not the best state to be in when you're trying to heal, when you're trying to boost and reduce inflammation. So take some time every day to meditate, to pray, to express gratitude. I love expressing gratitude. It's become such a great habit where, in the beginning of the day, you write down 3 things you're grateful for the day. And then at the end of the day, you write down 3 things that you're grateful for the end of the day. So embracing that kind of mindset can be so important. And, sometimes it's not realistic for us to avoid all the harmful things that are happening in the world. But as long as we could have a strong mindset about it, it can be very helpful. And so, try not to stress too much about boosting your microbiome too much either, because, it's impossible sometimes, but with the right diet, right lifestyle, cutting out a lot of the harmful toxins, it can really help. So some digestive choices is, we want to have, when we do this is, and the biggest reason we want a healthy microbiome is for healthy digestion, right? So when we have better digestion, we have better energy, we digest and absorb nutrients much better, we have less bloating, less heartburn, we have less joint pain, less headaches, less fatigue, less pain, less sleep, better sleep, so better skin, right? So all of this is why we need a healthy microbiome, and we have better detoxification too, so that way we feel younger, we look younger, and it really helps our overall health. So here's the summary of the 10 tips for a healthy microbiome. So we want to first avoid the microbiome destroyer. So try to eat more organic, try to limit antibiotic use, try to limit the GMO foods, and we want to drink better quality water. So having a proper filter, having boiled water, if at all, like the minimal would should be to have boiled water, and making sure water comes from a very, very good source. Cutting out the sugars is very important too, because sugars really feed the unfriendly bad bacteria and parasites and candida, which is a type of yeast. So we want to also increase fiber intake, because fiber helps with boosting your healthy microbiome and also helps to keep us regular, so that way we're not keeping all of the poop in our system for longer than we need to. Fermented foods and probiotics also can help with boosting our healthy gut microbiome. Intermittent fasting can make things more efficient, get rid of unhealthy gut microbiome, getting rid of unfriendly microbiomes after testing with a good protocol to help with, boosting your natural body's natural immunity with herbs is very, very good as well. And fortifying the mucosal barrier. We've got to make sure the barrier is strong, so that way the gut microbiome can thrive and be much more healthier. And getting into contact with microbiomes, like different microbiomes are in our world. There's ones in our garden, ones in our with our pets as well. Boosting our home's microbiome by making sure that we don't use so many harsh cleansers and things like that can really help too. And try not to stress too much over it, because we are born with as soon as we're born, our microbiome starts to get created. So, we do have healthy bacteria living in us. It's all about how can we keep it healthy? How can we prevent the harmful bacteria from growing in it? And these are some of the great tips that we can do to help that. So I hope that was a educational talk for you. There was a lot of good information, great tips. Of course, if you need more help, and sometimes you do need more help with your specific concern and condition, I'm always here as the naturopathic doctor at Justine Blainey Wellness Center. You can we can have a quick meet and greet, or book a full initial appointment where we really dive deep and go into everything that could be causing your problems and getting to the root cause of it and fixing it from there. So some upcoming webinars we have, once again, frequent heartburn, chest pain, nausea. This could be something to keep an eye to watch to find out the symptoms, causes, and some natural solutions. There is, if you have any cervical neck or disc damage, what is the disc herniation? How can we fix it? That's also coming up. Talk on quality sleep and what are some good sleep positions is also coming up for you. And can your health make you tired? So what are some medical conditions that could make you be feeling tired and not like yourself, that you would want to get checked out? So lots of amazing educational talks coming up, and we hope that you join for all of these. And if you have any feedback, any ideas for talks, please give us please let us know, or you can also let us know through reviews on Google or Yelp. That would be so helpful as well. So I hope you had a great time tuning into this talk. And if you have any other questions, I am always available as well. Have a great evening, everybody.